I look really hard. Okay, Zorian's calling in. Hey, good afternoon. You're with Frugal Tech. Is this Zorian?
Hi. Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm doing well, Zorian. Thank you for calling us today.
Thank you for having us.
And joining in on Frugal Tech Live. Zorian, to get started, I have a few questions I want to ask you. And the first thing I'd like to know, if you can give us a brief history, the history of StarWind software, and your vision of the company's products.
Sure, sure. So the brief history of the company is not very brief, but I will try to be as succinct as I possibly can be.
Okay.
Well, interestingly, for the background of the company, I'd like to separate the company from the product. And the reason is that the company, under the name of StarWind Software, is brand new. It's actually been started in December of last year.
Okay.
But what is interesting is that it's not a startup in the sense of what we perceive as a startup company. And the reason is that the company is a spin-out. And it's spun out from another company called Rocket Division Software.
Okay.
And StarWind is a product. And this refers back to what I just said a few minutes ago, that or maybe seconds ago, why I'd like to separate the company history from the product history.
Certainly.
The StarWind product actually has been developed for the past 6 years, since 2003, which I believe was just around the time, either slightly after or simultaneously with when the industry standards were passed for the iSCSI protocol.
Okay.
The iSCSI standard.
Right.
And so the product actually has been around for more than 6 years. It's on its 4th generation, coming up to 5th generation product in our roadmap. It's been a very well-known product that is sold. And at this point, we've actually counted, we have users for this product since the past 6 years in over 100 countries. It's pretty amazing.
That is fantastic.
So the product is pretty solid and pretty well aged, if you will. But the company itself, right, because it is a spin-out from Rocket Division, is kind of sort of new under a new name, but carrying on the baton from many years ago.
Well,
and just to kind of close it off, as there was an investment made in December, we hired a new management team, opened the office here in Burlington, Massachusetts, and that's the brief version of the company's history.
Fascinating. That's good to know. The StarWind name is well known, and I did not know that it was a spinoff of another company. But we're keeping that StarWind name. We're keeping that brand recognition going at this time. My next question to you is, what can you describe as some of the most valuable uses for centralized storage in the small to mid-sized business space?
Great question. So, centralized or networked or shared storage, and we hear these terms interchanged all the time. It's absolutely essential in any company size. Well, especially if you go above the mom and pop, small businesses.
Right.
Beyond that, any shop that has real IP value and data, and is looking for data to be managed properly in adherence to all the best practices, and trying to retain the data and manage the data and back it up and secure it and protect it and so on. Anybody who's looking to adhere to those kind of best practices in managing and protecting your data will have shared storage or is implementing shared storage as we speak. One of the biggest reasons is, look, it's just easier to manage when it's all centralized in one location instead of going to all these disparate areas and trying to protect it in each of those disparate areas around your enterprise or around your small or mid-sized company and your regional or branch offices.
Right.
It's just very difficult to do if it's not organized all in a proper manner in a central single location. That's one thing. But a really big driver of business today is server clustering.
Right, absolutely.
If you want to do server clustering, which is truly the best way to ensure data and application availability, you need to have shared storage. If you think about it, in order to use some of the more advanced virtualization or even we'll say VMware features, such as vMotion or storage vMotion or VMware high availability or DRS or VCD, you must have shared storage. You simply cannot enable those features, those advanced VMware features without it. The same thing for live migration with Hyper-V, right? So whether it's physical server applications or virtual servers, you must have shared storage. And server clustering is becoming so ubiquitous, if you will, today, that pretty much majority of the customers that we have are using us for that reason. They share storage to cluster servers to enable high availability in their environment.
I see. That brings us on the next question, which is in the same vein. So what impact has virtualization had for your company and its products at this point?
Oh, it's prodigious. I would say that 70%, which is a very, very substantive figure, of 70% of our business is due to virtualization projects.
Wow. I would not have guessed that.
It's really large. We have some customers using us for SQL Server clustering. We have customers who did Exchange clusters and set them their data up on our product in the shared storage, or actually built with our product, if I were to be more precise in defining it. But a lot of it is really driven by virtualization. Virtualization initiatives. Actually, interestingly, I should kind of step back for a second. There's an interesting statistic as I'm talking about it. It just kind of got resuscitated in my mind. When I was speaking to VMware a few months ago, to their storage group, an interesting statistic was mentioned during our conversation, which I think is interesting to your listeners, and that is for every dollar, and this is what VMware said. This is not somebody referring to virtualization of the VMware industry. It's what VMware states. So for every dollar spent on VMware license, $5 gets spent on storage for that virtualization project.
Holy cow! I would have never guessed.
Well, I've heard larger numbers. I've heard I'm hoping I'm not mistaking VMware. I don't want them calling me right after this call, but I'm pretty confident that it was 1 to 5, and it's pretty unbelievable. And the reason is that shared storage or network storage, or basically it's called a SAN because it's block level storage that you need for server applications. It's not you can't just go with a NAS that just attaches to your router or to your network that you can just dump files on. You really need block level storage for that. And those products are extremely expensive. I mean, if you look at some of the proprietary SANs out there, let's start with fiber channel SANs. Oh my God! I mean, you could go bankrupt just trying to define your IT budget, right?
What is the entry fee, if you will, for the traditional SAN based on fiber channel? Are we talking 40K plus, 50K plus?
Oh, easily, and that is, and the reason I say easily, without even thinking twice about it, is there are a lot of non-fiber channel but IP SANs out there, basically Internet Protocol or iSCSI SANs, which is what we offer. Those that are iSCSI SANs with, say 8-10 terabytes of storage in a metal box that gets shipped over to your office, you could easily spend $60,000 to $100,000 without blinking.
Really?
I don't want to mention any